We've been working for a few weeks on my listening skills using a technique I call vocal dictation. It's immediate, avoids writing and translation, and it works on the key problem in listening, decoding the stream of speech into sounds, syllables, words, and sentences at speed. My teacher plays very short segments of audio and I try to say back what I heard. So she knows immediately where my problems are and can intervene precisely. We work until I've resolved each phrase completely. This is not about getting the gist. We're aiming to improve my skills to native level over time, of course. We started off with the title of a news story, which was easy to understand, though my pitch accent was way off.
雪の事故。
雪の事故。
うん。メロディーは
雪の事故。
もう一度言います。
雪の事故。
雪の事故。
うん。
The next phrase, just 5 words, was a bit more difficult.
今日朝4時ごろ。
I used my fingers to hold the words and syllables, but I missed the first word. 朝4時ごろ. Second time around, though, I got the whole thing. You can hear the confidence in my voice.
今日朝4時ごろ。
Oh, yeah. 今日朝4時ごろ。
うん。
It wouldn't be efficient to work this way until a student had got a strong core in the language. But I'm in a good place because we've done so much work on speaking accurately since I started learning Japanese. Working on pronunciation has tuned my ears. Work on the functional vocabulary means I know how sentences work. And talking about the everyday means I'm familiar with lots of common words. I'm where you'd expect me to be on the progression framework, about here. Here's a more difficult phrase.
雪が道にたくさん崩れ落ちているのが見つかりました。
We're working short phrase by short phrase to avoid overwhelming my working memory, and we're ignoring the transcript because I want to focus on my ears and not on my eyes. After a bit of work listening to that phrase a few times, this is where I'd got to. Notice how I used my fingers to hold the phrase while I examined it. 雪が道にたくさん崩れ落ちて、崩れ落ちているのが見つI was still missing the final word of the phrase, so I listened again, and this time caught that word's pronunciation.
道にたくさん崩れ落ちているのが見つかりました。
見つかりました。
うん。
But it was a new word for me, and it still wasn't stable. So, 雪が道に崩れ落ちているのが見つかった So we listened again.
道にたくさん崩れ落ちているのが見つかりました。
見つかりました。見つかりました。見つかり。見つかる。Now that I had the pronunciation clear, and after I'd mentally checked that I really didn't know it, my teacher gave me the meaning by acting out an example.
例えば、あ、メガネがない。メガネどこだろうない。見つかりました。
いいです。いい言葉です。Then I recreated the whole phrase from memory, though I made one pronunciation mistake which my teacher got me to correct and which I did by searching for what sounded right. Notice again how useful fingers are to hold syllables and words. With fingers we can ask things like how many syllables, how many words, where do the words break, what sounds are in this syllable, whilst avoiding writing. 雪が道にたくさん崩れ落ちているのが見つかりました。
うん。
崩れ。
じゃない、ここ問題。
yes. 落ちて。 くず
そうそうそう。
れ。はい、そうです。難しい。くずれ。はい。くず、はい。そう、くずれ、落ちて、
そうそうそうそう。
のが、落ちているのが見つかりました。Oh!
そうそうそうそうそう。
Now, with every sound, syllable, word, the grammar, and finally the meaning resolved, we listen to the phrase again.
雪が道にたくさん崩れ落ちているのが見つかりました。
A bit later, we met this clause from a longer sentence.
旅館には客や働いている人などが
And after a bit more work, I resolved it like this. 旅館には客や働いている人は No, 人などが This didn't make much sense on its own, so we tackled the subsequent few words.
何十人かいます。
何十人がいます。
うん。
何十人。
何十人いますね。
うん。何
ね、
十人。
聞きましょ
人が何十人かいます。
何十人かいます。
う。うん。そう、これね。
十人かいます。何十人かいます。And then I put the two clauses together to give this.
旅館には客や働いている人などが何十人かいます。
はい。Once we'd worked through the whole news story and I discovered exactly what was there, I retold what I recalled in my own words, with my teacher helping me to get what I said correct, with feedback, hints, and guidance as usual. 福島県で雪がたくさん降りました。その写真は福島市の山です。2月10日に雪崩がありました。雪崩がありました。昼になる前に、その道は通ることができました。10分後で、また雪崩がありました。そして、道は通ることができませんでした。土湯温泉の道は、雪崩、ため、雪崩ため、
なだれ、はは。
雪崩のため、
そうそうそう。
通ることができませんでした。電気やガス、水道、電話などを使うことができました。怪我をした人はいません。In the few weeks I've been working like this on listening to Japanese, I've made a lot of progress. Decoding is a skill just like any other, which now I've been taught how to do it. Practice will make faster and more reliable and needing less conscious control. Being taught by doing how to resolve 100% of what's in audio is enjoyable, sometimes surprising, and confidence enhancing. And working on simple audio news stories like these have expanded my experience of how people use the language to talk about commonplace matters, the weather, an accident at sea, an earthquake, a crime near Nagano City railway station, etc. Just the sorts of things that I need to get familiar with at this stage in learning the language.